Good morning, everyone, or I should say afternoon. We'll start in about 30 seconds or so. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start. I'm Kelly with IT, and today we're going to talk about the Konica Minolta copiers, how to add emails, how to add account codes, and then I'm going to show you guys how to actually get a code off the get a code off the printer itself. So for those of you that have account codes that need to run them for your office, I will show you guys how to do that because you have to actually do it on the machine itself. So to begin with, and again, this probably is not going to be like a very, very long webinar, 15, 20 minutes. I am always, you guys can ask any questions that you want. I'm also going to try and get some documentation going so you guys have all this information because I know that we don't have much documentation for this. So we're going to try and get some documentation going for this as well. So anyway, so the first thing you guys should do is you should all know your Konica address. So it should be an IP address. If you don't know the IP address, go ahead and send in a help desk ticket and we will give it to you. It's the IP address is what we use to talk to the computer or talk to the copier. It's what we'll use to add the copiers to agent computers. And before I actually get into that, let's talk a little bit about adding printers to agent computers. So the thing about adding the copiers to agent computers, there are maybe a handful of offices out there that do it themselves. That the admins are doing it, they have permission, they've been trained by IT. But what we really would prefer is that the agents call in to the help desk or put a ticket in. We really would like 24 hours notice, but we know that that's not always possible. It's, just because, you're training your agents and they're going to come in and right then and there, they want to print something and they haven't been set up. So they can always call but if you, they can always call in, or they can send in an email and let us know. When they do call in, the best thing for them to do is if you do have copy codes to make sure that they do have their copy codes. So let's talk a little bit about copy codes too while we're on the subject of copy codes and for those offices that do have it. The copy codes are should never, ever, ever be the last 4 digits of someone's social security number. If you have that in your office, you need to change it. You're not supposed to use the copy codes, social security numbers, the last 4 digits. That's not allowed. You can use the last 4 digits of their cell phone. You can ask them what their last 4 digits are. I do want to preference too when I'm showing you guys this. Once you have those in, you won't know what those passwords are. So make sure you have a list somewhere too of what everybody's passwords is, just to keep it for your own, for yourself. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is while we're here is so you're going to have the screen. Now again, some of you might have a little bit of a different screen. If you have a little bit of a different screen, they're still in the same places. So just follow along with me. And if you have questions, again, feel free to ask. So the first thing you want to do is you're going to want to log in as the administrator. You do not want to put the password here. You're going to put the password in the next screen. So I'm going to go ahead and say login. So you're going to hear right here, it's going to have the administrative password. The administrative password for everyone's office is 1234567 or 1234567 1234567 That's the generic password. Do not change that password. It's the password that people use to get into the Konicas. We would prefer to keep it that way. So again, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Whoops, didn't type for me. Okay, so go ahead and hit OK. I'm gonna say don't save, never. You can save it in yours if you want to. That's totally fine. So again, some of you might have a different display here. You actually might have the tabs up top. The newer people that have newer Konicas have it, their website looks like this. Again, it's all the same. So if you're looking at your Konica right now and you see you see all the tabs up top, you'll have maintenance, system settings, security, user authentication, network, box, print settings, store addresses, wizard, customize. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go into the user authentication and account track. So we use account track to do account codes. So we use the account track settings. We don't use the user authentication. That is something a little bit different. So if I go ahead and pop over here, I'm going to see here, I'm in the Winfield office today. They have 2 copiers. So Deanna has to run this. She has 2 different IP addresses. She has to log in twice. So those of you that have 2 copiers in your offices, there's not many of you, but there are some because of you have 2 levels in your office, or the office is very large. So you have one on one side, one on the other side. If you have 2 Konica printers, you have to manage them separately. They don't manage together. So if Deanna has a new agent and she puts them on the first floor, she's going to have to log into that second floor copier and enter them into the second floor. So basically, account track codes should be for all users, and these are for offices, again, that use account track codes. There are some offices that don't, but those of you that do, you should have it for every agent in your office. Obviously, they will be unique. You can't make, it won't let you not have a unique one, so there's the good thing on that. You should have it for a guest access. Do not make the password 1, 2, 3, 4. Just because for those of you that do have the account codes, when you go to an agent's computer and print, it should be bringing up the account code so you can type in the code. If you do 1, 2, 3, 4, people are smart enough to figure it out. They will figure it out and they will start using 1, 2, 3, 4. So don't use that one. The other thing you can have account codes so for here in the Winfield office, they have the school. So they use there are 2 agents here that are also teaches classes. So when they're printing for the classroom stuff, they use that code. And when they're printing for their own stuff, they use that code. So it's just a way for us to separate out that cost for the offices. The other thing is that you can also set up one for Affinity Title if you want to. I know Affinity Title does come into some of you guys' offices and they're using the copiers, and people are always asking, what code should they be using? So if you feel like you want to set up a copier for them, go ahead. A copy code, just use the last 4 of their phone number or their extension number they can use too. So again, if it's 847-257-8000, you can use extension 1713 as their code, or you can just ask Angela or all the other girls what code they would prefer. They might have a code in one office and they might ask, hey, can I keep that code for this office, which is totally fine. We also, anyone else that might be using the copier that's in on a regular basis. So if you have an agent, this is another thing that came up to me the other day, is that they have an agent that works, let's say they work in the Lowell office, but they're in Winfield a lot too, because they have listings or showings in Winfield. They come in the Winfield office and they want to print. Feel free to set that agent up with an account code. Go ahead and do that. That's totally fine. That's totally acceptable. You guys can do that. It also helps, again, looking at, who's printing what and those kinds of things. So again, you're going to want to make sure that you manage these accounts. So when an agent leaves, you want to make sure that that's on your checklist. When an agent comes in, you want to make sure that's on your checklist. So it's pretty easy to add an account code setting to your Konica. You're just going to go into new registration. I'm going to put in a password. I'll put in 1713. I don't know if that's been used yet. 1713. And I'm going to go ahead and name it Affinity Title. So again, that's all you need to do. You need to put in a password and repeat it, and then put the name of the person. Go ahead down here and click OK. And you're done. It's a pretty easy thing. If you have more people that you need to add, you can always go continue registration. It'll pop you right back into this screen right here. And it will bring you back so you don't have to go back and forth and click OK and all that stuff. So you can come right back into here and add more agents if you needed to. I'm going to go ahead and cancel that out. But I do want to show you something. So when I do add Affinity 2 here, so let's find it. They have a lot of agents in this office, so they've got 2 screens full. So if I go in here to edit it, as you can see, I can't see the password. So again, that's why I kind of talked about making sure that you have the password, that you guys keep the password somewhere, or if you just know that everybody's password is their last 4 digits of their cell phone, then you'll already know what the passwords are. But again, if you decide to do something different, because I know some offices are like, well, then other people can figure out what their pins are. So if you decide to do something different, just go ahead and make sure that you keep a record of those passwords for yourself. Usually, the agents don't usually forget it unless they're like, they don't come in a lot. They might forget it. Just so you guys know that when IT sets up the computers for agents, we pre-program that account code in there, so they'll never have to put it into their desk, their laptop or their desktop. They never have to put it in. But again, if they came in real quick, didn't bring their laptop, they need to go to the agent computer, print, they might need that code. So you will be asked occasionally about it. The next thing we'll talk about is setting up the scanning to email. So again, you're going to want to do this for every agent to scan in. Again, if you have, if Affinity needs to scan stuff or whatever, you can set them up. You don't necessarily have to set up users that are just temporary, because they can go into the machine and type in their own address. But I do want to let you guys know that you should be putting in everybody's email address so they can scan. It's pretty simple. Again, you're going to go into new registration. So I do want to talk a little bit about this. There's a couple options that you guys can have. So some agents or team leaders want to have them right on the top. So when you have that, you can put in a direct number. So if I want like 001 and I want to be the number 1 when I go up to the copier machine and see myself up there, I'm the first person on the list. You can go in there and put that. You also want to specify that it's an ABC search or CDF. Just leave it on ABC, and you can click the main screen. Again, that will put them on that number 1. I can go ahead and put in my email address. So I just go ahead and autofill that in there. The rest of it, you kind of just want to leave alone. There's nothing that you need to really work with here. Everything else, you kind of just want to leave it alone. So again, you're going to come in here, you're going to put in their email address. Oh, I forgot to put my own name in here. That would help. And now it's probably going to error me out because I believe I already have access in this computer or this printer, but if I hit OK, yep. So maybe I didn't. So you can, once you have that done, once you put them in there, then again, it tells you that it's completed, and you can continue registering if you have to add more people, or just go to return to go back to the list. Now, for some people have asked too, hey, I don't want to, use my affiliated. I use my Gmail. Can we just have it put on my Gmail account? Yes, you can. That's fine. They want to put their Gmail in there. You can put their Gmail address in there because they have their emails forwarded to their Gmail anyway. It just speeds up the process a little bit. So you're totally allowed to do that. And that's about it for really what you guys are going to do in here. There's not a lot of other things you're going to do in here for the purposes of adding users to the copiers. Again, just a little more information about your guys' copiers. Most of you, like 90% of you, have your copier machine is also your fax machine. So those faxes, when they come in, they are going to go to you, the admin, and unless specified, your team lead. So if you would like to have your team lead added to those faxes, and they're not right now, send in a help desk ticket. We're happy to do it. We'll always do it. If you're not getting the faxes for some reason, go ahead and let us know. We don't usually allow anyone to have access to those mailboxes that the faxes actually go to. So your fax is going to go to something like winfieldfax@c21affiliated.com. That email just forwarded to the admin. So we don't, like I said, unless there's a special circumstance, we don't want you guys in those email boxes. We've had some problems in the past that those have gotten, people do it on, they do it on a public computer, they leave it up, and then there's all sorts of weird things that are happening. So we don't want to have, we don't really give access to that. Again, if there's also if you guys have more than, one admin in your office and you don't use an admin email and you want that other admin to have access to get the faxes too, because let's say they work on a Saturday, you can let us know. We're happy to add them to the faxing email address as well. So a couple of things too, just want to let you guys know when you guys are in here like this, in the screen for the Konica, you are blocking it from being printed. So just so you know, don't leave it open. It does time out after a while, but just make sure to log out. You just click here to log out. I always say log out. Don't shut the browser down, because if you don't log out, sometimes it freezes and it still thinks it's connected. I've had some issues with that too in the past. So just make sure that you're logging out of the web browser. Pretty simple stuff. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about running a report off the Konicas. So again, to run a report for your whole entire office, you actually have to do it on the machine itself. I think I'm gonna switch over here real quick, and hopefully you all will be able to see my screen when I'm done. Let's do this. Hold on just a minute. I've got one thing going on here. So let's go like this. All right. So I'm turning my webcam on. So you all should start to see me. Hi, everyone. All right. Now I'm going over to the copier. So hopefully everybody can see the copier now. And hopefully it is showing that it is, that you can see it. It's not backwards to you. Hoping so. All right, so let's start. So again, when you first log into the Konica, you have to log in with your password, for those of you that have passwords. And again, this is really for those that have the copy machines that that you guys have account codes. This is really for those people. Those that don't have account codes, you could just run a regular report. It's not that big of a deal. Okay, so when we're in here right now, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go to utilities. And what I'm gonna wanna do is in utilities, I'm gonna go ahead, and as you guys can see, there are some things you can do on here that you can that you could do on here for your, like your one touch. So if you didn't want to use the website for some reason, you wanted to really quickly come up to the copier and put someone in, you could do that here too. So everything you can do online, you can do here. So we're going to go ahead and go into utilities. And then we're going to go into, wait a minute. Hold on. I don't see my administrator settings here. Hold on. Let's try this again. It's utilities. Settings. And this is what happens sometimes when you do these on demand. Let's just make sure. Let me just log out of this one more time. So I should go into utilities and I should see, I don't see my administrator settings. So let me grab Deanna real quick and log in as her. So, oh, hold on, let me grab Deanna's code real quick because I'm just set up as a regular user. All right, Deanna's coming in. There we go. There it came up. For some reason, it wasn't coming up. I don't know why. So again, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I'm going to hit OK. All right. So there we go. So the next thing that you're going to want to do again, so you're going to, let's go back and do this again. Sorry, guys. So let me do this, 5315. Log in there, go into utilities, and there we go. I'm like, I know that that's supposed to be there. So then you go to administrator settings. Again, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hit OK. Okay, so after that, you're going to want to go to the fourth item down. That's user authentication right here. And then the next thing you're going to want to do is go print counter list. So we're going to have this print counter list, which is number 5 here. And I always say do it one-sided, and then you just hit start, and it's going to print it out. So for those of you that have been doing it or haven't ever done this before, what it's going to do is going to give you for all time the counter list because we don't reset the counters. So one thing you're going to want to do, and I'm sorry it's printing right now, is that you're going to want to make sure that you do, when you do, if you are in charge of doing the counter list, you're going to want to make sure that you check it the same day each month. So, you know, the first, second, or third, again, you do it the first, second, or third just because of, you know, the first and second might fall on a weekend. But anyway, what you're going to get is you're going to get a piece of paper that looks, all right, I'm going to try and find something here. All right. So you're going to get a piece of paper that looks like this. And that's probably not, you guys probably can't read it. But what it does is it will give you, it gives you the scan settings of someone. It gives you the color printing. It gives you the black and white total. So we'll give you all the totals in that the person has printed. If I cancel this again, cancel. It's going still. Again, when you guys are going to do this, you're going to want to come in here and go to print counter list. And then you can go ahead. We also did actually, I do remember this too with Deanna. We changed it up. So if you don't like the way that report looks, and I would suggest just go up there, go try it. You can also do, you can have it just say the print only, the data only. I find that one to be a little less paper, and it gives you a little bit, it just gives it to you in line items instead of, let me put this back over to here. instead of this is like grouped as one person and this is grouped as a second person, it's all line items. So either way you can do it. It just kind of depends on how you guys want to do it. But again, you can do an all data one or you can do a print only one. And I say okay to that. And again, I just print the items and hit start, and then it prints them for me. You can also print it larger. So if it's running off onto 2 pages, you can print it on a larger piece of paper. Again, this is for people that have account codes that need that they're supposed to get the counters for it. If there is no way to do this online, which totally is not great, because again, you have a piece of paper that comes out, so that means you got to go look at it, put it in Excel, send it over to your team lead or whoever. So just so you guys know, it's not the greatest, but that's the way Konica does it. So unfortunately, that's the way you guys are going to have to run those reports. I think that about concludes everything. So I will open it up for any sort of questions that you guys might have. If you don't use a user code, you don't need to start. There are some offices that have larger, they have a lot of agents in there. And we also will monitor it on our end. So if we see like, oh my gosh, you guys' printing is getting out of control, or if you notice that your printing is getting out of control and you don't use account codes, you can certainly talk to your team lead about it. It is totally up to you guys how you want to do it. Who is asking for this? I thought we got an email on this. I've not gotten one in a long time. Dawn, I'm not really sure. I think maybe you're saying that you're not getting your faxes, so we can definitely look on that. Do you have a suggestion for a guest code? Okay, so a guest code that I had a suggestion for, I think I gave it to DeKalb is 7575 or 4545. So usually, numbers that are duplicate that are just a little bit different that you guys can use. So again, just try not to make it 1, 2, 3, 4. It's too easy, especially for those offices that really monitor the counts and monitor who's doing what. It's just better if you use a kind of a crazy one that you can think of, or you could use, if you have a 4-digit, if your address is 4 digits, you could use the 4 digits for that as well. I think that is all that we have for questions. Again, thanks you guys. This is the first time I've used video on on a webinar, so hopefully it's good. I am going to try, and for our next phone one that we're actually doing the phone, it will be on video. So if you guys have feedback about the video, please send it to me. Like, hey, it's lighting with bad or whatever. Send it to my personal email address so I can adjust it. I want to make sure that you guys are seeing what you need to see. I did shut off all the lights in here except for like one, so it was a little bit darker, so there wouldn't be so much reflection on the screen. So hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Again, if you have any questions or if you need any help with anything, reach out to the help desk. Thanks. Bye.